2007. The world is trying to recover from the last nuclear war. Devastated wasteland. Fallout. Introducing Sergeant Rex Power Colt, a cybernetic super soldier sent to an unnamed island to lead an investigation into Colonel Sloan, an elite agent who has gone rogue. But nothing could have prepared Rex about what he was going to discover. This is the badass plot directly introduced to us while beginning the game. Released in 2013, Far Cry 3 Blood Dragon is a standalone extension of Far Cry 3, so you don't have to play through the main game original to play this one. As Ubisoft describes it, the reason for creating Blood Dragon was to make a game that was an 80s vision of the future, where the player must get the girl, kill the bad guys, and save the world. As it's our first review, let's try to split it up into different categories to talk about the game. Let's talk about the gameplay. If you know the Far Cry 3 franchise, you're not going to be lost. It's practically the same as Far Cry 3. You've got your bow and an assortment of different guns that you can upgrade. When killing enemies, you can do it by stealth or be a killing machine and jump right into the action. Taking down enemies is satisfying, and it feels impactful when you fire your weapons. That feeling of raw power. But even compared with a big machine gun, the bow remains the most overpowered weapon in the game. It is stealthy and usually one-shots enemies. To progress in the game, you have what I want to call two types of missions. Primary missions that are story-driven and continue the plot, and side missions that are secondary. The main missions feel pretty good and have a diversity of gameplay mechanics and how they're driven. On the other hand, the secondary missions really feel monotonous and repetitive. They will switch between three types: save some hostages, hunt some animals, or kill bad guys at a certain spot. As it's always the same, you might skip them or decide to just do them to grind experience points for your character, or to unlock new items in the shop. That's something I forgot to mention. During the game, Rex Colt can level up by completing missions, killing enemies, hunting, etc. Leveling up will result in acquiring new weapons, more life bars, faster running, and other perks. But as the game is not that hard, unless you play at the insane difficulty, you won't feel the need to grind experience to continue the game. Overall, the game feels pretty good in your hands, so it feels good. But does it look good?
What's up with all the blue goo? Holy shit.
Let's talk about the graphics. The game uses the same engine from Far Cry 3, so it's not bad. The places you go through in the main missions and the bases look great, but the wastelands look pretty empty. Yes, you know they're the wastelands, but come on! Don't tell me after nuclear war there would be only rocks, trees, some animals and some bushes left. More variety, just like with the side missions, would have been enjoyable. Even if sometimes you find some hidden spots, the environment still feels dead. And as the map is quite huge, if you try to travel long distances by car, boredom can hit you quite easily. I ended up using fast travels I'd unlocked instead of using a car, because the rides feel pretty lame from one place to another. Moving on to an area in which the game really shines: sound design and music. Jumping, running, climbing, shooting. Everything feels really good. Even the voice acting is really cool, as they brought in Michael Biehn from Terminator to dub Sergeant Rex Power Colt.
I gotta do my shit. I'll find the bunker entrance.
And I'll provide the distraction. Let's show them how cyber commandos get it done.
Mark 4 style, motherfucker!
Can't be more 80s than that. But the best part will always be the music, brought to us by Power Glove. Each piece of this soundtrack feels like it's in the right place. From the starting point to the combat music, you gotta love it. Just listen to this. You know you're on the right path with this game. Lastly, let's talk about the story. We already mentioned the plot of the game, but it's more than that. Far Cry 3 Blood Dragon is a homage to all things 80s. It's full of action movie cliches, over-the-top dialogue, the main character use of bad jokes and puns. There are also a lot of 80s movie references, including Predator, Terminator, and more. See if you can find all of them. The only problem with this over-the-top 80s wannabe style is that it can become tiresome. Using cliches is fun at the beginning, it starts to feel pretty lame. Even back then, people understood that and eventually dialed back the cliché exaggeration. Making an entire game based on this over-the-top style is funny to begin with, but gets annoying towards the end, in my personal opinion.
Security override. Activate tutorial programs to Sergeant Rex Power Code.
Acknowledged. Loading basic tutorial batch 101 from Military Navigation for Idiots. Auto-holstering weapons for silent approach.
Oh, you fucking asshole.
Now have fun.
But in the end, the biggest flaw with this game is the playtime. It took me only 8 hours to complete the game 100%. Maybe 4 to 5 hours to complete the main missions, between 2 and 3 hours for the side missions, and 1 more hour to get all the collectibles in the game. Near the end of the game, you get an upgrade that shows you where all the collectibles are on the map. So it's then pretty easy to find them, don't you think? I know it's only a $15 game, so it's not that much to complain about, but I went through my first run and finished the game. I was like, that's it? Well, that was short. But if I had one thing to say about this game, it's that on the market, it is the one that best represents the spirit of the 80s. With everything said, both good and bad, I give this game a solid 7 out of 10. Definitely a must-have for any 80s fans following us. Thanks for listening to our first review, hope you enjoyed it, and make sure to let us know in the comments if you would be interested in having more stuff like this on the channel. Don't forget to subscribe to the channel, and if you feel like it, support the channel on Patreon. Stay rad!